Yes, guys, how you doing? Welcome back. Welcome back to the Spurs Chaos Show. It is carnage. It is absolute mayhem at Tottenham Hotspur right now. We have so much to talk about. We have so much to break down. We have penalties that were overturned. We have a fascinating game of football that, had that been the story and the story alone, there would still probably be an hour's worth of analysis and diagnosis to go through. But we've got Cupgate. Thomas Frank denying that he knew he was drinking out of an Arsenal branded coffee cup, which I kind of think is legit, unless he's just an absolute donut. But still, we've got to talk about it. We've got Romero calling out the football club, calling out the ownership, calling out the leadership. Why? We always have to examine the narrative and the motivations of the protagonist. Always have to. He's done this before. He's doing it again. Is he right to call out the club? He says, or we'll come to what he says, but he's also changed what he said. He's edited what he said. He removed the inflammatory allegations of untruths. It's quite wild. On top of that, we got fans fighting with players. Micky van der Ven, sometimes captain of the football club, offering players out. We still have no signings. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know where to start, guys. Where to start? We're going to go through it all. We're going to go through it all. Content's got a content, 100%. Today, there's no need to embellish anything. There's no need to tweak anything, really. It's all there to see. It's all there to digest. Where do we go from here? The problem is, guys, I didn't even think we played badly last night. I thought it was the best performance that we've had for months. It was what most of us had been asking for. We could have easily won that game if it wasn't for an absolute worldie of a save from Petrovic late on. Richalison hits the post, penalty overturned. 3 or 4 shots went wide or over the top of the bar, rustled the net, the wrong side of the post. On another day, we could have scored 6 or 7 goals in that game. And they only had 3 shots on target. All 3 of them went in the back of the net because our boy Vicario didn't make a save all night. I've just seen the highlight again of the outswinger from Semenyo, and I've got to be honest, Vicario's first thought to get up and scream and chase after people. This guy is like a brat in a creche who, when someone pulls his hair or steals his toy, he wants to scream after them. He's very, very aggressive when really he needs to be thinking more about whether he could have done more. Because I think maybe on that one, I still haven't seen the perfect angle, but I feel like the distance from the shot, because it was so far towards the apex of the penalty area, he could have done a lot better. Anyway, we're going to talk all about it. We ad-lib here. Big up to you all for tuning in early doors. Please do smash the like button for me if you don't mind. Really appreciate it. Hit the subscribe if you haven't already, guys. Hit the notification bell buttons. They should be squeezed as is standard. And drop some comments. Let me know your thoughts on today's topics. Just want to make sure that the audio is correct. It is. Is it? Good. So much to get through. Donut Hotspur. The defending was terrible, says John. Yeah, we had 2 or 3 sloppy mistakes. I guess what I'm saying is, I didn't think we played that bad. I guess what I'm really trying to say is, I think I said it in my video last night, apart from all the other mayhem that's going on at the football club, and you know what? All this other mayhem will eventuate with Thomas Frank being sacked. I would be very surprised if Thomas Frank is still here after the Villa game. I'd be very surprised because that's just the way it works. But I guess my first thought was I thought that last night, had that game finished 2-2, apart from the coffee cup, I'm not sure anything else happens. Or had we won that game, the team get applauded off the pitch. Don't think Thomas Frank gets booed. But when you lose the away fans, when you lose the hardcore 1,400 or whatever it was that got a ticket to that game, then your days are numbered. Your days are very, very, very much numbered. Was our best performance in a long time, 100%, in terms of sort of just at least trying to get the ball and trying to play some football. But then Bournemouth, I guess the counter to that is that Bournemouth will always allow you to play football, and they will always play football. That's why they're such a fantastic team to watch, is because they're essentially doing what Ange did in his first season, right? Doesn't matter whether you're 1-0 up or 1-0 down, you carry on playing the same way. And I guess the other context is that it had to be Tottenham that gave them their first win in 11 or first win in 12. So contextually, I can totally understand why people are going mental. I don't know whether to start with the... actually, where I need to start, guys, is please check out OK Jersey. If you're looking for any football club, any sports, athleisure wear, any of that stuff, you get the best prices in town, new, retro, unbranded things that you're looking for just for your training gear. Unbelievably good priced, well-priced products with great quality, and you get a 8% checkout discount with code Sean. So search for OK Jersey and go get some shopping done. Appreciate you all. Appreciate you all. Let's start with the. Let's start with this thing. Let's start with Christian Romero, shall we, guys? Let's start with Christian Romero. So here is the situation. Last night, is it here? Here we go. Here we go. Where is it? So last night he came out on Instagram and said the following. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. He said, apologies to all fans of you who follow us everywhere, who are always there and will continue to be. We are responsible. There's no doubt about that. I am the first. But we will keep facing up to it and trying to turn the situation around for ourselves and for the club. At times like this, it should be other people coming out to speak, but they don't, as has been happening for several years now. They only show up when things are going well to tell a few lies. We'll stay here, working, sticking together, and giving our all to turn things around, especially at times like this. Keeping quiet, working harder, and moving forward all together is part of football. All together, it will be easier. At Spurs official White Hart. He's changed that, because the original one said, wait, is that the one I said? Where's one of the lies? What's going on there? Oh, yeah, here we go. Sorry. So the original one, sorry about that. The original one said they only show up when things are going well to tell a few lies. And then he's doctored it and said they only show up when things are going well. So he's taken out the allegations of untruths. Under whose, first and foremost, under whose direction was it to post the article, to post the Instagram post, right? Was it just by him? Did he use ChatGPT to translate? Is he good enough with English, writing English, to be able to do it by himself? Has he done it? His agents then picked up the phone and gone, what have you done? You can't call out your owners for lying. So change it. So we got a lot to digest here, right? One is, why did he do it? Or sorry, who did it? Who made the faux pas of putting out the lies thing? And then why was it changed so late after everyone saw it changed? For me, I think he might have done this by himself. And then I think his agent or somebody at the football club has then said, take that down or repost it without the lies bit. The other part is, though, is that what's his motivation for doing it? Now, listen, I get it. Everyone's angry with the football club. I get it. Everyone, when it is times like this, everyone wants to go straight to the... If Daniel Levy was right, it was here right now, it would be Levy out, Levy out, Levy out, Levy out. But because he's not here, you have a smattering of people that are saying ENIC out, which I'm like I say, I kind of concur with the ultimatum that unless you want to back the club, unless you want to show some serious ambition, and £100 million doesn't touch the surface, then you might as well sell the club, because you're just going to be resented and hated, and you're ruining the most important pastime and hobby of millions of people's lives by your lack of willingness to take the club seriously. And this kind of notion of like the rebrand, the toxic rebrand that was so transparently obvious to everyone that saw it, like now it's the majority owners, right? So they're trying to distance themselves from the idea that Levy was the problem, when Levy was never the problem, in my opinion. He was he had things that were bad about his style of ownership or style of management, but he wasn't the problem because he didn't have the money. The money was the other guy, Joe Lewis. And the kids that are in charge now could have at any point in the last 25 years said, go get the money. Either way, put that to one side. Christian Romero is calling out the ownership after a bad performance. At what point does any owner come out and usually talk in front of the cameras or the press? If he's literally saying it shouldn't be Thomas Frank that's talking, it shouldn't be Christian Romero that's talking, it shouldn't be players, it should be other people in the football club. Like, where does that happen? When does that happen? Does Todd Boehly come out and speak, or Baghdadi come out and speak when Chelsea lose to, whoever? Chelsea lose to Fulham. Does Todd Boehly come out? No. It doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. So there's two separate things here. He can be right about the fact that the ownership aren't putting enough money onto the table, if that's what we're inferring that he's saying, and that the lies that he's talking about are saying, we promise you we're going to back, like, sign a new contract, QT, sign a new contract. Don't worry, mate. Levy's gone. We're gonna be here to support the club. If that's what he's saying, that's what the lies are, then first of all, he might have shot his load too soon, because the window has only just begun. It's 7 days in. But again, I'm not in the process here of getting into I'm not in the interest of getting into the kind of Levy, the ENIC debate just yet. But generally speaking, after a match, the people that do speak when things go wrong are the manager and the owner. Sorry, the manager and the player. And as captain of the football club, Romero doesn't do any interviews. He doesn't do any interviews. So, like, on the one hand, he's kind of right about the fact that, it's a methodology. You players, or not often players, but usually managers. We've spoken about this all week. We've spoken about this for the last couple of weeks about Maresca using the only tool that managers have to remind fans that it's not always as it seems, and that all of the poor performances or the bad results are not entirely at the fault of the manager, because there's other things that go on behind the scenes that they're not aware of. The fans won't be aware of it. Things like being asked to play players you wouldn't otherwise play because the valuations have to go up, or the director of football cop blocking the manager's desires for a player because they're worried about tomorrow and the manager's worried about today. All of those things we've spoken about them ad nauseum for the last couple of weeks. Oliver Glasner's done it. Tottenham Hotspur are doing it and have done it in the past under Conte, for sure. Eddie Howe's done it. Amorim's done it. Maresca's done it. Have I said Glasner? They've all done it. They're all doing it. As soon as a team that has expectations from the fans starts to struggle relative to expectations. Oh, sorry, Nuno did it as well, right? Nuno's not the next one. No doubt it will happen at Everton at some point. No doubt it will probably happen at Villa, when Villa's new director of football, who's more tasked around finding the youth for tomorrow than Monchi. Monchi and Unai Emery weren't like this. They were like this, because Monchi was all about a here now a talent ID. And that suited Unai Emery. The new guy, he's finding 17-year-olds. So you wait. In a year's time, as soon as the Villa story starts to peter off a little bit, and it will at some point, there'll be chaos there. 1 second, guys. Anyway, I digress. So they're all saying it, right? They're all saying it. They're all using the media as the tool to say it's not always as it seems. Not all of the responsibility should be on the players or the manager. There's other things going on. It's unusual for players to be calling out the ownership. Very unusual. But it's not unusual for QT Romero to do it. Now, Cuti Romero did it before he got his new contract. He's now done it after his new contract. He's used the phrase, tell some lies. To me, when you couple with some of the abject positional defense that you saw in that game, and I actually thought Romero had a really weird game. I thought like he was brilliant offensively in the air with corners and winning a lot of challenges, almost scored a goal. But the defending at the end, and for the first goal's defending was shambolic, and the third goal, he didn't give a shit. He didn't care. He didn't close anyone down. And people on the WhatsApp groups and people throughout the watch-alongs that I've been doing, I didn't do a watch-along yesterday, but people throughout the watch-alongs that I did over the last month have been telling me consistently Romero is checked out. So to me, you have to ask the question. You have to do it here. Don't just treat these things on face value. You have to ask the question, what is the motivation of the protagonist? Why do people say what they say? Is it just blunt honesty? Is it brutal truth? And just because it's honest and truthful doesn't mean it's correct. It could be your truth. It doesn't mean that it's the truth. Romero, maybe he has a point. Maybe he's been lied to by the owners saying that we're going to invest and back it. And maybe there isn't that ambition. And thus far, it's only 8 days in, but there hasn't been any demonstration of it. And when you look at the compiling and compounding effect of injuries that we're going through right now, the reality is that we really need to be more active in the window than we are. And the only thing we seem to be anywhere close to is Sousa, who's a 19-year-old who isn't going to start for Tottenham unless he's unbelievably talented. And I don't know how anybody at Tottenham could be that convinced that this guy is an unbelievable talent because he's only played 26 games of professional football in Brazil. There really isn't that big of a sample size to know whether this guy is the real deal or not, to be a Premier League ready player. A Premier League ready player. So again, example, Exhibit A, right? Thomas Frank, Johan Lang. Johan Lang is a guy that likes going after young players. Pause, sounds weird, but you know what I mean. Because that's where he sees his skill set. And it also buys him time because his KPIs are different to Thomas Frank's. Thomas Frank hasn't called out the board. He started to like layer in some commentary though about his predicament. But we know that managers use that tool to engineer a sacking where they get paid off when they get sick and tired of the heat and the hate and the pressure that comes with underperformance, and they think that the people behind the scenes, the suits, are not getting their share of accountability heard by the media, by the scrutiny of the press, by the goldfish bowl of the sport itself, and by the fans who only care about on-field performance and don't necessarily have the interest, the time, the inclination, or the access to understand what it is that happens behind the scenes. And so when the managers have had enough, they say, fuck this, it's also them. And as soon as they say that, the next day they're out of here with the rest of their contract paid off. Is it possible that Romero also has buyer's remorse on signing the new contract? Is it possible that he has done that, what he did yesterday, because he wants to get put up on the sale list, on the transfer list? He wants out. And maybe, just maybe, so does his playing partner, Micky van der Ven. Because as great as he's been this season, for whatever reason, someone decided to say something to him in the fan base yesterday that made him go, come on then. Come on then. You, come on. Our best player, who almost did a worldie yesterday, who almost pulled a worldie yesterday. And we've got to talk about that as well. We'll come to that. I'm still not finished on the Romero thing, but I've got to do some super chats because they're piling up. And I'm going to say massive thank you to everyone for strapping in. Please hit the like button, guys. Hit the subscribe. And let's see where we're going. Atavacron Wembley, big up to you, my man. He says, morning all, RIP to Terry Yorath, who just scored once for Spurs. I didn't know. I didn't hear this. In a 2-year spell with the club. But trust me, because I was there, scored the greatest Spurs ghost ever versus Bolton, November the 10th, 1979. Big up to you, Atavacron. Before my time, very sorry to hear. Who? Terry Yorath. Let's have a look. Expose my lack of knowledge. Oh, I recognise him. I recognise the man. RIP to him. Oh, that's Gabby Logan's dad, isn't it? Ah, yeah. Okay. That's sad. Man, they're dropping like flies at the moment, aren't they? People are. 2026 has been we've had better years, haven't we, so far? And we're only 8 days in. RIP to him. Thank you very much for the super chat, my man. Best wishes to the Logan family and everyone else. Chudini has come in with a super chat as always. Chudini right here, right supporting. Chew to you, Dino. Chew to you, my man. Thank you very much indeed, buddy. I appreciate you very much. The Bears Cave, my man from Woking. Big up to you, buddy. Thank you so much as well. He's come in with a super chat. Chew to you, buddy. Thank you so much. Appreciate you very much indeed. Bourbon Buzzard has said 2 things from last night, Sean. 1, the Wally with the coffee. We'll talk about that in a second, yep. And 2, the only time a DOF should be seen in a transfer window is when he is shaking hands with an incoming player. Why was Langer at Bournemouth? Well, both good points. We're definitely going to talk about the coffee thing. I don't know what to think about that. I'd be gobsmacked if Thomas Frank knew that he was carrying an Arsenal coffee cup and did it anyway. Unless that's like 4D chess, you know, of the highest order, because that would be the I didn't mean it, I didn't know, I didn't see it. Go on then, sack me. Because I think he would love to get out of this shithole right now as well. I think that the entire club is in absolute chaos. Chaos. I would not be surprised if there was not a sacking today. I really wouldn't. Really wouldn't. I would not be surprised to see it. Thomas Frank has left the club with immediate effect. It's not going to solve anything in the short term, but it does the old shield thing, the old shield trick, right? Where people just sit there and go, you know, don't ever go at me. It's this guy. We'll give you what you want. We'll throw him to the wolves. Yeah, we'll come back to that one. As far as the DOF being at the yeah, I don't know why he was there. No idea why you're there, Johan Lang. Like you also go on holiday at all the wrong times as well. You're always back in Denmark, like when you should be working. You know, I remember this in the summer. The summer was just started and everyone was on holiday. You know, why? Why? You go on holiday in February. Go on holiday in March. You know? Don't go on holiday in bloody January or December when you should be working. I completely agree with you. I don't know why he's at the game. He doesn't need to be at the game. If he was at the game, he was at the game last night. Him and Vinay were there, weren't they? No Paratici, funnily enough, though. What does that tell you? Right? What does that tell you? Again, but Paratici was at the game against Brentford and Johan Lang wasn't. So again, what's Vinay doing? Is it like, you know, Daddy's day out with the son on one Saturday and the daughter the next Saturday? Like, what are we doing here? It looks so stupid. It looks so stupid. Makes me want to drink. Thank you very much for the super chat. Big up to you, Burnbuzz. Appreciate you, my man. Ulrika Car is also in the house. Big up to you, Ulrika. Thank you very much indeed. Appreciate you. Choo-choo to you. Aussie Frank Lover has come in and said, I don't think we sign anyone apart from Sousa. And if that's the case, mate, then get me a purple and gold scarf, bro. Get me a purple and gold scarf. I'll go and join Billy T down the high road on the 1st of Feb. Because we need to, I know I've been saying it for a while, though. I hate to say the I told you so thing, but I said it in like mid-December. So I don't think this club's going to have a very good window at all. It's not going to stop me doing my January, my transfer views and my news views and clue shows, but I just think we're set up for a big failure here. Doesn't look like anyone knows what the fuck they're doing. We've got a whole bunch of number twos. We've got a bunch of yes men. We've obviously got a bunch of no men in the leadership around the dressing room. Well, I've still got to come back to that because I don't know how I feel. I'm going to put a poll out as well because I think that there is like part of me is like Romero should be like, shut the fuck up, Romero. It has nothing to do with you. Right? You're the captain of the football club and you constantly run your mouth. Constantly. Thank you for the super chat, Aussie. I'll come back to that. I'm going to go on a rant again in a minute. Football Heritage TV, big up to you, Sava. He says, I hate this channel. All right. Rip up the club and start again. Seriously, from owner, directors, DOF, scouts, manager, and players, the whole club is a massive mess. Just a manager change won't solve the joke of Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. No, it seriously won't. Seriously won't. You know? And they're trying to do all this, all these, like, we're bringing in like 25 new directors of this and that. It's not what we need. Like, Daniel Levy managed to run the club fairly well for 25 years, just himself, basically, and a few other people. To move from that to having 15 number twos, we've gone from like a vertical hierarchical structure to a horizontal one with no one of any talent. There's nobody at the football club that supports Tottenham. Charlie Lewis doesn't even like football. Vivian Lewis supports Liverpool, as far as I've been told, or she's married to someone who's a Liverpool fan or whatever. Vinay's an Arsenal guy. Johan Lang, I don't know who he supports. The only person that was even remotely football related, in my opinion, was Paratici, and he's bent as a 5-bob note. So I don't even know. Look, I'm going to come back to that 1 second, Sav. 1 second. Sorry about that. It's blowing my nose. I've got horrible chronic rhinitis. But I big up. Yeah, I appreciate you hating the channel. Big up to you, Sav. If you want to come on, mate. If you want to come on, let me know. I'll share the frustration with you, and we can talk about it. Got a lot to talk about. Rip up the club and start again. He says just a manager change. Yeah, manager change won't. Very generous super chat, my man. A manager change won't solve everything. But it's the usual tactic, isn't it? It's the go-to. It's the go-to thing. It's what football clubs do. When things go wrong, you sack the manager. And look, I don't think Thomas Frank does get us. I'm not holding him accountable for the Arsenal thing. I think that's just a blunder. That's just a mistake, right? And it's just he's probably sat there and gone, oh, fucking hell, I haven't done that, have I? That's the last thing I need. Can you imagine? He's gone, what? I was carrying an Arsenal cup. What are you talking about? And he's gone, what? Oh, fucking hell. You know, can you just imagine that? Oh, God almighty. Can anything go my way? Big up to you, Sam. I appreciate you, mate. He's come back in with another one as well. Says, people have a day off. Of course, I don't hate Sean's channel. He is my mate. Wow, a comment that Sean has seriously backfired. Oh, I haven't even had a chance to look at any comments. Have you been? So it's all right, guys. We're friends. Big up, Sam. You haven't got to send that chat in, mate. Thank you very much, mate. Appreciate it. It's all good, people. It's all good. Big up to Blaine TV as well. Come in. Big up to Blaine. He said, unless Enoch kids Vinay, fire Lang and Frank and show transfer intent, then it's obvious they only care about profits. I'm furious at Spurs making my life negative. I watch football to get excited, not depressed. Where do we go? You can F off down the Emirates if you want, Blaine. Now, that's what we do here, mate. Listen, you've just gone and bought yourself a half a season ticket, plus all the travel costs and the hotel costs every week. You're committed, bro. You're in two-footed, mate. You got to get on board it, bro. This is the roller coaster. Have you seen that GIF of the guys on the roller coaster and he's looking around at his mate behind him? He's recording him looking at the camera the whole time. He's sort of doing this. She's going up and down the roller coaster. That's what you are, mate. Just take it all in your stride. Take it all in your stride. But look, the Enoch kids need to put up or shut up. I said it at the time. £100 million doesn't touch the sides. It doesn't touch the sides. They thought they could placate Spurs fans by getting rid of the big bad Daniel Levy, who, by the way, in my opinion, I stand by this all day long. He wasn't the problem that everyone thought he was. Yes, he had his limitations. For sure, I could name you 10 things of why you could have a different version of him doing those things, and it would create a much better version of a chairman. But he wasn't the biggest, baddest problem at Tottenham. It was the lack of investment from the guys who had the real money. And Charlie and Vivian Lewis have got all that money. It's in their family trust. 25 years, they didn't tell their dad to put any money in. Now they did. But it's 100 million quid. The biggest PR faux pas for them, which lost me, was when you saw the colour of the DJ's money in the Martin Lipton report. We've got $1.5 billion to put into the football club as working capital. Doesn't mean you can spend it all. It means you've still got to work within the remit of the PSR and the FFP. And I'm sure a lot of that money was also for the investments around like the hotel and all that shit. The hotel's on pause, by the way. The hotel is on pause. Why is that on pause? Because they're not fully invested. They've got more than enough money to fund all this stuff, but they don't care. The new kids on the block don't care like their dad didn't. Right? So, they are, if there is a cop block, and it's in, but money that isn't just it as well, because Manchester United have got a lot of money and they spend a lot of money, a lot more money than Tottenham do, but they're just as bad. They are just as fucking bad. There's more to success than just money. Money is like an essential ingredient, as is an ecosystem, as is continuity, philosophical consistency, as is a statesman, a figurehead. If you look over the history, thank you very much for the super chat, Blaine. Thank you very much. If you look at the history of successful teams over the last 75 years, I think I've still got some of the pictures of it. I did a video on this stuff. Did I delete them all? They might have gone. I think they've all gone now. But I did a video on it. Go and find it in my archive. 75 years of trophy successes analysed. Who wins? How do they win? What makes a team consistent? You need a youth system that generates a consistent conveyor belt of opportunity, or facilitate something. You need a statesman. Every single successful club has had a figurehead that is larger than the club. Bill Nicholson, Alex Ferguson, Arsene Wenger, to a lesser extent, David Moyes at Everton, but still that consistent theme. Now it might be Arteta, by the way. You know why? Because when players come to a football club and they know that they can't throw their toys out of the pram, every time something goes wrong, it's like, I'm going to down tools, and eventually they'll sack him and I'll go again for the next manager. That doesn't happen if the manager's got or there's someone at the football club that is bigger than the football club itself. Clough at Forest, Shankly. I could go on and on and on, right? They all those successful. There was a guy at Derby, a guy at Wolves. I forget his name. All of the successful teams that have won periods of like 4 or 5 trophies in 5 or 6 years, those clubs always had a statesman, a figurehead that represented the club that was larger than life. And Tottenham don't have it now. Tottenham don't have it. You could make the argument that Daniel Levy was it at Tottenham, but just not a good enough version of it. But you need someone that's larger, that you know is in the driving seat, and you need money. Money is also an important factor. And we don't have any of it. We don't have any of it. So changing the manager won't change our fortunes. Getting the right manager in place who has a coherent relationship, a wavelength chemistry with the director of football, because they see the same vision and they're both working towards the same end, which is present tense and future tense collaborating, because you want the manager now to be the manager in the future. It's more and more difficult to do because of the impatience of fans. More and more. Sav wants to come on. Awesome. Here he is. Bosh. So there's so much that needs to happen at Tottenham Hotspur to get to a place where Liverpool was under Klopp. He's another one, by the way. Or where United were under Ferguson, where you have not just periodic success, but where you're constantly challenging. You're constantly there. You need owners, the leaders, the management, and the players to be all aboard the right train. Everyone needs to pull in the same direction, and the fans have to be the 12th man, suck the ball into the back of the net. At the moment, we have fans that are a headwind. We have a manager that doesn't know whether to put the boat in forward gear or reverse. We have like the ownership who didn't fix the boat. There's a hole at the back. And we have directors of football that don't know where we're going anyway. Where's the navigation? Their compass doesn't point north. It's a big fucking problem. Lee Townsend, big up to you. He says, a new low for Spurs. Romero's comments highlights a poor culture for our captaining to basically say the board hire shit players. How are the team supposed to feel? Why did you sign a new contract? That's the other point. It's exactly right, Lee. That's exactly right. He's turning around and saying, the players that I'm playing with are shit. Who's he talking about? The captain. If I'm supposed to be playing under my captain, and my captain's basically saying that a load of you aren't good enough, and the only reason I'm still here is because the people in the suits promised me that some of you wouldn't be here and others would. I know a lot of you are probably going to come back to the comments in a second, because I haven't got the comments up because I'm doing the super chats. There's lots of them. But I'm sure a lot of you in the comments have said, Romero calling it out, facts, 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 my captain, all this shit. Sorry, I don't see it that way. I see him as a bit of a petulant little prick, if I'm entirely honest. He's a very good player when he wants to be, but he's also a lunatic when he's in a weird mood. I don't think this is captain's behaviour. Don't think it is at all. If anything, he should be, as a captain, should be wearing the badge with so much honour that he should be saying, players, don't fight with the fucking fans. Don't fight with the fans. The fans pay their money to come and watch you. He says it in one part of the comment, but in the other, he's saying something entirely different. It's not for him to be calling out the board. It's not his job. The board shouldn't need to be called out, though, for what it's worth. The board should just be fucking on it. The board should realise how important this is to so many people. Most people in this world are having a fucking hard time at the moment. There's no money. People have to choose between heating and eating. People can't afford luxuries, and yet they still find the money, less and less now because they can't justify it anymore, to go and watch that team. Meanwhile, the Lewises probably have got more houses than you've had hot dinners in the last week. That was a shit analogy, but you get the point. Big up to you, Lee. I appreciate what you're saying there, man. I agree with you. I think Romero needs to shut the fuck up, to be honest. Future's bright, future's lily white. Super sticker. Big up to you, mate. Choo to you. Thank you very much indeed, my man. I've ordered the plumber, by the way, just to make sure I took your words of advice. DB Forever's putting a super sticker. Big up to you, DB. I hope you're okay, mate. Thank you very much indeed, my man. Appreciate you. Choo to you. Tim Anton 1, big up to you. He says, in Serie A, sporting directors speak often before and after games talking club strategy. This is a difference between Serie A and Premier League. Okay, well, Paratici's aware of that. So what? So Paratici used to go out and speak in front of the clubs, did he? I didn't know that, Tim. If that's the case, I know that I've heard before people saying, like, medical teams. Conte said it, right? Medical guys come out and speak about the injuries. But that's not the culture in the UK. That's not just a Tottenham thing. That's a Premier League thing. If that's the case, right? That's a Premier League thing. No, I don't. You never hear the medical doctor at Man United explaining why someone's out injured. You don't hear those things. But if Paratici's used to doing it at Juve, why doesn't he want to do it anymore? Maybe we should break the mold on that. There's an idea for Vinay if you're watching. You know? Be a groundbreaker. Let us get to the source. Maybe the method of what Cuti's saying is stupid and wrong. Maybe it shouldn't be him that's saying it, but maybe there's a lesson to be learned there. That maybe Tottenham fans and other fans around the country would be better off listening to why it is that the doctor can't get a player fit in time. Explain it, because the manager can't. Maybe the manager will have a breath of fresh air, breathe a sigh of relief when he hasn't got to answer questions he doesn't know the answers to. There is some truth to the notion that other people at the football club should be communicating more. And there's definitely some truth to the idea that they come out when it's good times, but there's silence when it's bad. Daniel Levy for sure did that. He waited until the 9th game against in Ange Postecoglou's time to say we got our Tottenham back. The next time we heard from him was a year and a half later after the Europa League final. 100% there's truth to what he's saying. I just don't think he should be saying it. I think it's nothing to do with him. He's the captain of the football club. You need to have an alignment. You're the custodian of the football team. And by the way, if you want to communicate via Instagram, why can't you communicate like you're the captain? You should be taking the heat on the press conferences as well. Vicario, as much as I can't stand the guy for his erratic behaviour every time he concedes a goal and his erratic behaviour on the pitch generally, at least he's got the stones to step up and take questions after he's screwed up. You know, that's captain-like behaviour. When was the last time you heard Romero in an interview? And other players who don't speak English that fluently do it. They either have a translator there or they just speak in Spanish and someone does the translation afterwards. Or they do it broken English and we at least appreciate the opportunity, like the effort. He's been here 4 years, by the way. 4 years. You know? I don't know how long it takes to be somewhat competent in a language, but I don't know. Big up to you, Tim. Thank you very much indeed. New member of the show, Pete Tom. Thank you very much, my man. Appreciate you. We're going to have a lively fan show tomorrow. I can feel it. It's going to be lively. Big up to you. Thank you for the support. Adam Hines has said Romero's post was in response to the players clashing with the fans. He's being the captain and trying to shield the players and get the fans behind them. I don't think it was, mate. I think he was talking about the ownership. Why would the owners? The owners have got nothing to do with the fans fighting the players. We've got to talk about that as well because that's fucking crazy. But big up to you, mate. Thank you very much indeed for that one. And Control Base Delete, my man. Big up to you, buddy. Big Will, isn't it? He says member for 4 months. Big up to you, member. Big up to you, Will. He says Romero being a hot-blooded Latin American on and off the pitch. When I lived in America, mate, I used to love those girls. Those Latina women, they were fiery, absolutely fiery. You know, you have the best night of your life, and then you wake up with a pair of scissors wrapped around your Johnson because she dreamed that you cheated on her. Whoa! What are you doing? What are you doing? Come here, baby. Anyway, unbelievable. Big up to all of you guys. Let me just check where Saba's coming on in a second. Christian Romero has said something else, apparently. The people will march with the leaders at the forefront or with the heads of the leaders. What does that mean? The people will march with the leaders at the forefront or with the heads of the leaders. Is that an actual quote from Christian Romero? I see Blaine's put that out. It's come from someone called Swift Spurs on Twitter. Can someone look into that? TYC Sports has said it. The people will march with the leaders. Let me get that up on the screen. Swift Spurs. Oh, it's all in Spanish. Hang about. Here we go. Big up to you, Blaine. What's it saying here? El pueblo marchará con los dirigentes a la cabeza o con la cabeza de los dirigentes. The people will march with the leaders at the forefront or with the heads of the leaders. I've got no idea what that means. I think it basically means we're either going to march with the leaders or we'll take their heads and like basically we're together or we're against you. I think that's what it means. That's wild though if he said that. I don't know what it means, but it sounds gladiator, yeah. Big up to you, Warren O'Driscoll. Sounds a bit gangster, doesn't it? All right, let's have a look. We'll ask Grok. Go back to the original. What does this phrase mean? Can you see that on the screen? Is it on the screen? Yeah, here we go. No, I didn't want it in Spanish, you donut. Hang about. What does... This is a famous quote attributed to Argentine leader Juan Domingo Perón. It carries a powerful double meaning through the play word on the word head. With the leaders at the head, the leaders are out in front, guiding and leading the people towards their goals. The people are carrying the severed heads. Yeah, okay, that's what I thought it meant. In essence, it means it's to start warning to political leaders either support us or we'll have your heads. Yeah. Jesus Christ, though. I mean, if he has literally said that, he's Jesus Christ. What are we doing here? Has he actually said that? It's an accurate translation, is it? Fucking hell, though. That's mental. Spartacus stuff. That Romero quote was lost in translation. I think he's saying get out there and protest as well. I think you're right, Jason. I think you're spot on. I think he's saying, get me Billy T on the phone. Get me Billy T on the phone is what he's saying. I think Billy T's on the Spurs 5 tonight. I think he's on Spurs 5 tonight. And I think he's coming on here tomorrow as well to have a little chilly chit chat. So fucking hell though. He doesn't really back down, does he? I mean, I don't even know, guys. I don't know what to make of this. He's the captain of the football club, and he's telling the owners, like, if you don't back us, we won't stand for it. We won't stand for it. Bring in Sava. He hates the channel. Big up to you, Sava. How are you?
Fucking hell. Honestly. Putting a simple super chat, and I'm going to time Sava out for negativity. Why do you hate Sean? I think Sava low-key hates Sean because his channel's shit and Sean's is great.
Oh, no. I didn't see any of that. I was looking at the super chat list. Sorry.
Send me my money back then. Fucking Jesus Christ.
Thank you very much, man. I appreciate your support, mate. Yeah, guys. Yeah,
mate?
Sava and I are mates, so there's not time Sava out, please. That would be silly. Mate, I haven't even started talking about the bloody game yet. But there's so much to go through, mate. I mean, the game is largely irrelevant this morning on the basis of everything that's happened. I haven't even touched on the players fighting with the fans. Let's start. We're on the Romero topic, mate. Like that broke out. Were you live still when it broke last night?
Yeah.
What was your initial thoughts?
Just that Spurs is just a shit show. Like it's. Have you noticed with Spurs, it's never one thing. It's never like, oh, we're playing a little bit badly, let's change one thing. Whenever Spurs go into this sort of mess, it's like the whole thing seems to be at play. Fans fighting with players calling out the board, director of football leaving to go to bottom of the table, bottom of the Serie A table, Fiorentina, transfer window, nothing's happening. It just feels like everything's all kind of, it's like the perfect storm, but what's the opposite of the perfect storm? Do you know what I mean? It's like it's all come together at once.
A shit sandwich. Perfect shit sandwich.
Yeah, shit sandwich is what I'm looking for. And I don't know with Romero whether or not, I don't know, has he been, listen, we don't know, right? This guy's a hothead. For me, shouldn't be captain any way, shape or form, but that's a different story. Has he been promised something when he signed?
I think so.
Is this like Kane all over again, where they've signed a contract, but they've been told we're going to go big, we're going to buy it? Because when you look at it, right, people like Romero, whatever I think of him as a player, people like Romero as the captain of this football club and a World Cup winner, surely he'll be sitting there going, okay, right, we've gone from, we had Kane and Son. Where have we gone to now? We had this player, that player. Where have we? They're seeing it get weaker and weaker and weaker. Is it that? Has he just thrown his toys out the pram? Has he got a move in the offing for summer? I don't know, mate, but it is funny. It is funny, isn't it? Like, what do you do?
Well, I'm a little bit concerned because I definitely think there is this new trend. I've said it a few times. I said it at the start of the show. I think there is this new trend in football now where as soon as you call out the board, you get the outcome is pretty much written in the stars, right? Which is usually the manager. You get sacked. So it's like the manager's in a lose-lose situation in as much as they have these like competing interests of the director of football, the owners, the leaders, the manager. They want here now. They want to fix today. The DOFs are charged with making sure tomorrow's good. The owners are worried about both to a degree, but more so about money than performance for the most part. So there's like 3 or 4 different competing narratives around, but yet the only person that takes the heat is the manager and the players, and the fans don't get to see all the shit that goes on behind the scenes. And so when all that shit gets too much, it's a lose-lose for as much for the manager and as much as I'm getting all the heat, but you guys are cop blocking me.
Yeah.
And so but then it's a win-win as much as once it gets too much, they just go, fuck the board are the problem. I want to get paid out tomorrow because, it's not in my contract that if I call you out that I don't get my payoff. So I'll just call you out. Conte did it. Glasner's done it. Eddie Howe's done it. Nuno did it. Amorim's done it. Maresca's done it. All that in the Conte was a few years ago, but all in the last 10 months, all of those different managers have called out their owners and got sacked. And I think maybe that you'll start seeing more of that with players that want to engineer moves because they'll just do the same thing.
This is, I mean, I don't know if you saw last night before when the Sky Sports coverage started, they had Jamie Redknapp and Tim Sherwood talking about it. And they were all saying what you said. Like, let's be fair. If you are Maresca, if you are Amorim, hang on, shit's hit the fan. Not all is not as great as I thought. What's the quick way out here without me sacking? I know. I'll call them out. I'll go. And let's be fair, those people have got a massive payout and left the mess behind. And that is exactly why I think Frank will be gone soon. Sorry, I know that's pivoting a little bit because I think Frank right now, if he goes, I think he gets something like £12.5 million.
Yeah,
if I'm not wrong. Right? Not bad. £12.5 million. He gets himself out of the mess that is Spurs. Everyone in their life should experience a few years at Tottenham. Right? It's character building, right? Everyone should experience it from players to managers, right?
Yeah.
You'll get £12.5 million. And do you know something someone said to me this morning? They said, what will happen is, we'll sack him. We won't hear from him for 6 months. Then in the summer, Frank will go and pick up a job like Leeds or, somebody mid-table
Wolves,
in the Premier League. He'll have a good 3, 4, 5 years there where the noise isn't as much and he can build. And we'll all still be sitting here in a year's time going, what's going on at Spurs? Like, we're a mess. We need a winner. We need a new board. We need a director of football. So if I was him, I would sail off into the sunset right now. If I was him, I would come out if I was Frank and call out the board. That's what I would do.
What's going to happen though? The board, all of the boards of the football clubs will figure this out very quickly. And every time a new manager then gets signed or a new contract gets signed, there'll be a clause in there that says, if you call out the owner as a method of getting sacked, then you forfeit your compensation. Right? It's always a game of cat and mouse. The pendulum swings one way or the other, right? At the moment, there's probably not a lot of contracts that have those clauses in it that protect the board from criticism. But
well, did you see what Chelsea put in? I was reading yesterday that Chelsea put into what's his name? Well, I can't forget his name. Liam Rosenior's contract that there's really strict break clauses. So they said, like, the contract is 6 years. And on the face of it, you go, oh, my God, that's amazing. Just be shit for a year and get paid out for your last 5. But there's really strict clauses at, like, year 1, year 3, year 5 as to when they can sack and why they can sack.
Okay.
But look, back to
that's
Romero.
what I mean. So the owners are now moving in that direction. Right? The lawyers are going to figure out how to protect. But at the same time, mate, look, whilst I kind of get it, I feel for the managers in as much as, like, they're always butting heads with other people's KPIs. The reality is that they sign those contracts knowing the way that football is right now. Like, look, there's no clubs, as far as I'm aware, in the Premier League where the manager gets the overarching say, unless they've probably been there for a long time and they're on the same wavelength. Maybe Pep and maybe Arteta's probably it, right?
Yeah. No, mate, you're absolutely right. Look, I think the one thing we can say. Sorry to pivot the conversation a little bit. The one thing I think we can say at the moment is whatever anyone thinks of the board, whatever anyone thinks of Lang versus Paratici or Frank versus the players, we can clearly see, Sean, doesn't need to be great detectives to know that there's no alignment at this football club. Like there's clearly no alignment as to what are we actually trying to do. And as I said to you last night, it's the first time I've actually said, the manager's gone. Like, I don't mean now, I don't mean this second, but the manager for me is now a dead man walking in football terms. He's a dead man walking. And that's absolutely fine. But what we will see is whoever the next manager is that comes in, we're going to see again that there's no alignment, right? There is no alignment. Now you can, as long as you have alignment within a football club, you don't have to worry too much about who the manager is. So, for example, when you look at the Brentfords and the Brightons, right, the Bournemouths to a lesser extent, these clubs, they're never going to win trophies. Like in reality, they're not going to win trophies year after year. They're not going to really compete for top 4, But what they will do is they'll always be there or thereabouts, mid-table-ish, because their succession planning is brilliant. So it doesn't matter which manager comes in. It doesn't matter if Brighton lose Belieber. It doesn't matter if Brighton lose Lewis Dunk. They've got the next. They know, the club all knows what it's doing,
and the football stays the same, right? Because that's the foundation point of continuity. Is pick a version of football that you want to play, and then find the next iteration of someone that can do that to a similar, with a little tweak here and there.
Exactly.
If you can't even get that bit, if you can't even decide what football you want to play, and then you keep moving from one manager to the next because it's an opportunity that pops up along the way. If you're opportunistic rather than like planned and philosophically, consistent, then that's like you're always doomed to fail, because you're always going to have square pegs in round holes, aren't you?
But this is absolutely, Sean, and this is the thing. Look, I'm again, I have to say this loud because people will just say, yes, Frank's going to go, but we're about to do exactly the same thing again. We're about to pivot to a manager that everyone wants to see, an attacking manager. So you would assume Spurs are going to bring an attacking manager. That manager coming in is going to be picking up players from 7 different managers. Right, this squad has been built.
Now, is it 7?
Oh, yeah. Well, I think if you look at it, there's players still there from Pochettino, Jose, Conte, Nuno, and Frank. They will be the 7th manager, right? So the next manager, and again, if for one,
who's the Pochettino player? It's just Ben Davies, is it? That's about it, is it?
Well, but it's
Dean Austin, maybe.
He's still there, right? Like,
yeah.
And if we can put aside for 1 minute this conversation of who likes what manager, because if you did this row over which of the last 6 managers who liked it, I like them 3, didn't like them 3, yeah, whatever. If we remove that for the minute and actually just look at Tottenham Hotspur Football Club, right? This next manager coming in is picking up players from 6 different managers with 6 different styles, right? With no plan built, none of them having any time to actually build anything. And this new manager coming in will get 3 to 6 months, and the fans, we will do it. We will do it. We'll go, he's not getting the best out of insert player that's been here for years. And then we'll go, you know what? He's not right because he's come from Bournemouth. He's not right because he's not a winner. He's not right because, and I don't think unless any of that, unless the board get a grip on this soon, right?
Yeah.
And really get a blank piece of paper and start again with everything. So for me, sack Frank, he's doing a poor job. But at the same time, you've got to sack Paratici and Lang, right? You've got to get rid of half this squad. And I think you've got to go at the same time and say, right, okay, here's our new manager with our new director of football, and they're joining at the same time, right? They're joining at the same time.
And they know each other.
And, right.
And they're on the same page.
Exactly.
Right. They're mates. Exactly. So they're not trying to screw the pooch on the other one. Right. So there's 2 options in that regard for me.
Yeah.
Pochettino. This is the simplest one. Paul Mitchell and Pochettino. Okay. They worked together, didn't they?
They did.
They worked together before. They were happy. They were symbiotic. And I think everyone will be happy with those 2 back. By the way, this is like assuming that the owners are still there, because the cleanest sweep of them all will be to get rid of the owners and to bring in a new owner with a whole new vision, a whole new level of ambition, because these guys for me are just pretending like they care, pretending like they give a shit. I don't understand why it was that they're auditing, not to get off the topic here, but why they're auditing Daniel Levy and all of the commercial relationships to understand what happened and why there was no investment and why things kept falling over with Qatar and all this shit, just to then get 3 offers for investment or takeover in the summer after Levy had left. 3 offers come in and they walk away from all 3 of them saying the club's not for sale. Why do that to only then have an intention of putting 100 million quid in or 200 million quid? And why say, here's 100 and there's more behind it, and at the same time take out a payday loan where you're going to have to pay 5%, and at the same time pause the hotel and the whole phase 3 of the Northumberland Park development? If you don't have the money, then you can't do it. So don't walk away from the investment opportunities. If you do have the money, then show it. But they haven't, right? Like the whole. Anyway, we'll forget about the owners for a second, because they're like the immovable object, right? But in terms of the director of football manager, I completely agree. They have to be together. They have to be. And so the other option would be to go and get someone like, if you could, after the World Cup, go and get Ralph Rangnick and his buddy,
right,
Julian Nagelsmann, right? And then let those two work together. And
it has to be done together, though, Sean.
Yeah.
The problem for me, as I've said, I'll say it again because I know so many people don't seem to listen. Frank won't work. He will go, right? But as I said in the super chat, just changing the manager won't solve it. Not saying we don't change the manager, Sean, but just changing that one aspect is not going to change this. I think that this football club, it needs. Look, this is going to be a mess for years, Sean. Whoever comes in now, director of football, owners, manager, whatever it is, this club's a mess. I think we can all see that. Years of bad recruitment, years of no direction from directors of football. I mean, if you look at the last 5 years, we've had, this Willie won't he return with Paratici while he's being done for financial irregulations in Italy and jail time and all this. When you look and you think, only Spurs could sit around and wait for that, bring him back at the same time that his buddy Levy leaves, only for him then 3 months later to say, I'm going to Fiorentina, right? You've got noises that Lang and Frank are like that, and that again, I don't know if this is true, and that Paratici is completely the opposite to those two. You've got Vinay, as you've said many times, being weak and not saying, I'm running the club. I'm making this hard decision. And as I said, if I, from a YouTube point of view, Sean, if I wake up tomorrow and Thomas Frank's sacked, I mean, happy days, right? I know that sounds really sad, but once the fanfare all dies down of Frank's gone,
where do you go? Where do you go?
Where
in the
do
middle
we
of the
go?
January transfer window?
Right.
What do you do?
And that's my point. And I know people can't seem to understand when I say that. I'm all for Frank getting the sack. He will get the sack. But where do we go from there? Because I think too many people think that a new manager rocks up, Sean, and overnight we go, everything's good at this football club. The football's good. The signings are good. I think the problems are so deeply entrenched up there, right?
Yeah.
But at the moment down here, it doesn't really matter what's going on. And
I get you, mate. But if you sack him now, you're going to have to pay. You say 12 million quid to him in compo, yeah?
Right. And his staff will be more, right?
His staff will be another 4 or 5 million, whatever.
Right.
So then you've got to then either you bring in a temporary, like an Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, a Harry Redknapp, whatever. He's going to want his mates. He's going to want his whoever it's going to. I don't give a fuck. Whoever, right? But you either bring in a temporary, waiting until the market opens up in the summer post the World Cup. There'll be loads of people in the world after the World Cup. There'll be loads of managers who want to take Tottenham right now. Only someone that wants a payout in 6 months. But at the end of the day, the other part of the concern is, let's say that compensation package is 25 million. Let's even say that there is actually a manager out there right now that would join Tottenham Hotspur who's currently employed, and he's going to want his whole coaching staff to come over. That's going to require another 25 million quid's worth of compensation to the other club. That's 50 million quid out of a transfer window budget in the middle of a transfer window when no player's going to want to come unless they know who they're playing for. And 50 million quid has gone of your liquidity because you've got to pay those people out.
Yeah.
It was only 4 months ago. We didn't have enough money to keep the lights on, apparently. That's why we took out a payday bloody loan. We had no liquidity in the company. Right, so we took out a 90 million pound payday loan, which is going to cost us an extra 5 or 6 million quid in interest, and that's just to get a short-term guy in, or possibly a long-term guy if there is that relationship. Yeah. I mean, to me, as much as I think that Thomas Frank is begging for the sack. By the way,
I agree. I agree
to get sacked.
But you know what?
This nightmare.
Do you know what? If I was Thomas Frank right now, right? And someone turned around and went, "You're sacked." Straight away, you'd be like, "It's all off my back."
For that,
Thank you. I'll wait for the 12.5 million to drop into my bank account next week. Look, I listen. I almost feel like when you look at Thomas Frank now, he's got that look of any manager that joins Spurs. You know that look where you go, "Oh my God, you look so different to the day you joined." And look, I just think this is so much bigger than one man. I genuinely thought in the summer, this is where I was naive, Sean, right? I genuinely thought in the summer, by them paying 17 million to remove Ange and bring in Frank and his staff, I genuinely thought, right, this whole new start is going to have a plan. Like I genuinely thought, right, okay, this is new. We've not done this before. Right? What's the plan? What we've seen so far is everything's being run exactly the same as before. We've approached the transfer window. You said it a while ago. You know, don't expect Spurs to do a lot. You said it. We need to do a lot, but don't expect Spurs to. And the problem with all this is we're so busy, and you and I always have this chat offline. We're so busy point scoring about you like Tim and I like Tim, and that we're losing sight of what is actually happening at this football club. Like Frank can go, he will be a blip in our history. But tomorrow when we wake up and he's gone, I'm still looking and going, okay, who's in charge? Because that won't have been answered. What's happening in the transfer market? That won't have been answered. If anything, that will become more cloudy, Sean, because the manager's gone. So Frank does
Vinai fill you with any confidence, Salah?
No, absolutely none.
Has he done anything that warrants you going, oh, I get it. He's cool. Let's stick with him. Nothing.
Frank is a problem, right? Paratici is a problem. Lang is a problem. Vinai is a problem. Enoch are a problem. The average nature of our squad is a problem. It doesn't matter how we've got here. We're here, so we can all sit and play you said. I don't give a shit, Sean. All I care about is where is my football club going? And at the moment,
We're going to the championship at the moment, mate.
At the moment, I see us falling into what West Ham have become. And you look at West Ham now, right? You listen to any West Ham fans, you listen to any West Ham podcast, they're literally talking about, hang on, we went from Europe to relegation, essentially they're going down, in 3 years, right? Because they had to let players like Declan Rice go, but their recruitment was terrible. And I'm looking at that and going, look at the parallels with that and Spurs. We've also won in Europe, right? And not replaced players. Like, I know that's not a popular view, but unless somebody grabs the reins at the top of this football club, and I don't know who that is, it needs a Mitchell, an Ashworth, a Ralph Ragnick, a Campos.
But listen, let me ask you this, right?
You know,
if you could go and get a Louis Campos, I mean, Dreamworld, he would never come in a million years,
sure,
in my opinion. But just let's say Dreamworld, if you could. Does Vinai have the stones to turn around and say, you get the keys to the kingdom. You can rebuild the footballing side here. Because he's a number two, mate. He's been a number two his entire life in footballing. I don't know. He's obviously a smart guy. Obviously, I'm not sitting here saying he's weak or anything. I'm just saying, like, in relative terms, he isn't exactly someone that has had to make the super tough decisions in the past. And so the first iteration that we've seen of him was to make a cuck move, if I'm honest, not deciding who was going to be the boss out of Vinai and Paratici. Paratici and Lang. That, to me, I was like, what are we doing here? That's such a pussy way out. And he looks like a rabbit in the headlights, mate. He looks tired. That picture yesterday, someone in my WhatsApp group shared it and then said, it looks like I think Billy T said it. He goes, it looks like you're on the 4th day of a stag do waiting for the bus home. He just looks exhausted.
Yeah.
Strung,
he's
drawn
got
out. Just like, huh?
He's got Tottenhamitis.
Honestly,
you watch after Conte had been here for a little bit of time. You saw Conte the day he joined, that vibrant looking, suave Italian, cool guy, to this guy now looks in press conferences like literally when Antonio Conte spoke, all I could hear was sack me. Every press conference, all I heard was sack me. Right. And you know what? I agree with you. Is Vinai the guy that can turn around and go, right, everybody in, board meeting. This club needs to change. I am ripping this all up. I am making a tough decision. Vinai's going, Paratici's going, Frank's going. You know what? Romero, he wants to go, sell him. He's been here 4.5 years as well.
Arteta did it.
Right.
Arteta did it with Aubameyang, with Pepe, with the other donut, whoever it was, I forget.
Yeah, what was it like? Was it Mustafa and who was the defender? Not Sobas.
There was 3 or 4 of them.
Yeah.
There was 3 or 4 of them. There were big personalities on big pay packets, and Arteta went, "You're trouble. Fuck off."
Yeah, see you later. Right. But the thing is, we're very sentimental, right? We're very sentimental. So right now, just using him as an example, Sean, not scapegoating, because I know the internet likes words, right? If right now you look at someone like Christian Romero's been at this football club for 4.5 years, if I'm not wrong. There's always an excuse for when he plays poorly. It's always who he's playing with, the manager, the setup. He's been like this with every single manager, right? Right now, for me, that's the sort of person where I go, is there too much baggage now there? You know when you're in a bad relationship and you get back together and then it doesn't work and you're back together. There's so much.
She's looked at your phone. She accused you of cheating. You didn't.
Right.
You're not sure if she's cheated on you. Every time she has a crack at you, you have a crack back. She plays victim.
Right.
What are we doing here? It's just toxic.
Yeah.
Toxic.
And I feel like that's Romero is the epicenter of that. Romero, for me, has so much baggage now in his time at Tottenham Hotspur. Seen so many different managers. He's seen Conte do his rant, right? He's seen Ange do what Ange did. He's now seeing the mess with Frank. He's seeing us fight with fans under 2 different managers. At what point do a club like Spurs go, right, we're going to, we're going to cut all ties with people like that? The Ben Davises, they can go. The Romeros, they can go. Bentancur, you've been here 4.5 years now. Let's move you on. Bissouma, let's go. The problem is we attribute it all to one man. And I don't think it is one man. I think this is many men. I know that's a 50 Cent song, isn't it? This is many men. Many.
Lord and I,
right.
Because God, it hurts.
and you know what? I truly believe, as I said to you last night, Sean, I don't know whether Frank will get sacked today, but I think a loss to Villa could see him sacked.
Well, West Ham for sure. If he survives Villa, West Ham.
Yeah, look, right. So when he goes, right, when he goes, I think we will have a mini uplift for 3 or 4 games. I do. I genuinely, players get that extra 20%. Then I think
extra 20%, they're just replacing the 20% that they down tools. I genuinely think that half of the new manager bounce, it's not fresh ideas. It's that a lot of the players, again, figuring out the psychology here, right? I don't like this guy. He's not playing me enough, or he's asking me to do things that I don't want to do. If you're Xavi Simons and you're being asked to press, if the only thing that you could say positive about Richalison as to why Richalison is playing ahead of someone else is because, well, he's our number 9 and he presses so well and he works really hard, then you're sitting there saying, my striker's primary purpose is to do defensive work. Like, you can imagine that sort of like energy being represented in the training ground. And so I think that a lot of these players down tools, mate. And so the new manager bounce is just them replacing themselves back to the level of fresh start.
But that's my point, Sean. But that's my point. That's why when you look at it, so I think what would happen, and use whatever analogy you want, Sean, something medical, right? I think what will happen is a new manager will come in and it will be like popping a few paracetamols when in actual fact you need surgery. So the paracetamols, the cocodamol, it will take the pain away for a few hours and we'll all go, whoa, right? Can I just address one person in your chat, please? Because it's just somebody who's just a lot of messages. Billy in the chat saying, but last season, Savre, it was all because of the manager. Billy, I've said on so many times, right? I truly believed what Spurs were going to do was use the chance to reset the club in the summer, and they didn't. I've said that. I don't know what you want to hear me say.
To be fair, I think Savre has addressed it, right? Like he kind of he even said like maybe I was too harsh on Ange in the summer last season. He's like, okay, but people can like have an opinion. New information.
Like I can't talk about any subject without. Listen, as I've said to you, people like that in the chat, that's fine. We can keep doing this. You know what we can do next year? If we're in this same shit show next year, do I come on a show and go, well, there you go, Thomas Frank wasn't that bad? Or do we actually go, how do we move the club forward? Look, I think this is paracetamol where surgery is needed. So Frank will go, a new manager will come in, but you're right. That 20% that they've lost will get uplifted. And for 3 or 4 games, the pressing will be spot on, Sean. It will be first to every tackle. Then 3, 4, 5 games.
You regress back to the norm. Yeah.
They regress back to their norm, to what they actually are. We start seeing that this player can't control a ball and that this player can't pass a ball, that this player can't hold up a ball. Then what we do is we go, we're losing games again. And we go, this manager's shit. Okay. But at what point are we going to address this? Because I can't think of many clubs that have had this many managers in this many years. I don't know if anyone can.
Man United have had quite a lot as well. They've had about 11 managers or 8 managers in 11 years or something, haven't they? They've gone through
and they're a mess.
Right? And they're a mess as well.
Everyone
feels like they're a fucking mess at the moment. Like Sal, there's only a few teams that are really punching above their weight. And look, I think one of the things that helps, right? Like you know, in life, mate. I mean, you're a sales guy, or you were a sales guy, manager, but I'm sure you were sales before. Like, you know how important confidence is. You know how important momentum is and cadence is. Like, one of the things that I used to drill home to people in when I was a sales manager, other people, was when you go and get a sale, right? And you're like, and you haven't had one for a while, underperforming sales staff, they go and get their first sale in a month or something, and they want to go out and get smashed because they're selling like, yes, the monkey's off my back. And they think, I'll put my feet up now. The pressure's off me. No. You use this as a catalyst to go again, like, because you're going to be so much better. You're going to come across in meetings as like someone who believes in what they're selling, and that stuff is like, you can feel it when you're on the phone when someone sells you something down the phone or wherever your situation is. You can feel whether they mean it or whether it's just a smokescreen and just load of bollocks. You can hear it and you can feel people's energy. It's tangible. And I think in football, momentum and confidence and belief and cadence is so important. Aston Villa, right? They are massive. Listen, they're a very good team. They're a very good team coached by a very, very good manager. But they are not, in my opinion, the third best squad and miles ahead of the Chelseas and the Liverpools and everything else, right? They are in a moment in time where everything's going right and they believe in themselves and they're all on the same page, because you score the goal and you get the 3 points on the Saturday, you rock up to training on Monday morning and everyone's in a good mood and there's no squabbles, there's no one fighting each other, there's no arguments. You're just like, that first touch is a little bit more fluid. Yeah, people are on the same wavelength. I don't know, you can't explain it because you're still the same person with the same ability, but things just work. And I think that at Tottenham Hotspur, momentum is irrelevant right now.
Everyone is pulling in the same direction. Again, I use Villa a lot as an example, and as you know, and people laugh at it. But again, what Villa did was they did the simple things very well, right? So we can say they got Unai Emery, but Sean, if we want to do the point scoring thing, how many in the last 3-4 years when I've said to people about Unai Emery and they've said he's not better than Ange, he's not better than Frank, he's not better than him. Look. They did the simple things very well. They got in a solid manager, right? Not world class, not terrible, but a good CV, been at some decent sized clubs. They brought him in. But what they've done very well is they never buy anyone outrageous that's a risk, and they never buy anyone that's too young that's a risk. What they've gone and done is just put together a sensible squad full of senior pros with the right attitude. The Matty Cashes. I know we hate him as a Spurs fan, but Matty Cash as a right back does his job every week. He just does his job, right? Digne, right? Someone like Konza. Our fans go nowhere near as good as Van der Ven. You don't need to be, because when you're in the right setup outweighs the individual ability. So Konza and Lindelof are playing together at the moment, Sean. No one would take Lindelof, but he's got them working for each other. Then you look at the midfield he's got together. In the time, Sean, that we have amassed, right? Bentancur, Bissouma, Gray, Berghvall, and Sarr. In that very same time, they have amassed John McGinn, Kamara, Tielemans, and Onana, right?
Yeah.
And again,
by the way, Amadou Onana was a talent with potential, but massive flaws in his game when he was at Everton. Tielemans was an ex-Leicester player who no one in the Spurs community wanted. Kamara, I don't think many people knew too much about. And John McGinn, obviously, is a player that I think that flies under the radar. He's one of the most underrated bodyers of the game. I think he's such a brilliant player. I've always rated John McGinn. But like, they're not superstars. They weren't superstars, but you take potential, you take continuity, you take happiness, energy, and you mix it together with a manager that everyone buys into and a fan base that is supportive. right? Villa have gone through a massive trajectory. They were in the Championship, 5 years ago?
Yeah, I think
5 years ago?
they were in the playoff final the year we were in the Champions League final.
6 years ago.
So, if you look at the trajectory of the clubs, right?
Yeah, like that.
Do you know what? Right, there was a point where I went, "Oh, they're the same as us now." Now you go, they've taken. But my point of it, right, is they didn't do anything groundbreaking. Like if we had gone and bought half the players they have, because we're not settled as a club, because we don't have an ethos, a philosophy, a structure, we'd go, "Oh, Tielemans, oh, John McGinn." But what they've done is they all trust the manager and the directors of football because they're settled. So when you bring in a player into that Aston Villa setup, they're going into a really nice place to be with players who are all pulling in the same direction. And that speaks volumes. That speaks volumes. And until we get to that point, we're going to have this row, whoever we bring in. And that is why, and again, your chat might go mad at me, Sean. That is why I've said, I just want some sensible signings. Can we get a Conor Gallagher, who for me is the John McGinn mold? He's like a John McGinn. Can we get in a Conor Gallagher?
A leader, by the way. We need
a leader who is, he's not £100 million. He's not a really, good looking lad, but he's not a sexy name, right? He's not going to sell millions and millions of shirts like Son, but he comes in, he's a professional player. From what I heard, from what I saw, when I worked at Chelsea, what I saw was Conor Gallagher was one of the first to arrive. He was one of the last to leave. Everything he did was
professional.
Really,
clean living. Doesn't drink. Apparently, I don't think he drinks alcohol. Never a party boy. Never had any chaos with him. Never had any controversy. Nothing at all. Right. You need players like that. Did you see when Polinia scored that goal last night?
Yes.
He is someone, I know people think he's limited, right? And maybe he's not the best ball playing midfielder, but he is a phenomenon at what he does well. He wins so many tackles, so many duels. If it wasn't for him, we would have conceded, well, not necessarily more goals, but like, who knows, with a ton of reality, but a shit ton more chances against us. And he is someone that he cares. He is up for it. He's up for the fight. He does lead by example. You need someone next to him or in that midfield that can do the things that he can't do. After I've done these super chats, we'll get up the data MB thing and we'll show everyone again, just real quick, a number of examples of players that can fill up that octagon where the bits that he fills up, they might not necessarily be excellent in, but they do the rest.
Yeah,
but you have to have a caliber of mentality. You have to have a mindset on the pitch so that when the whistle blows and they cross the line and the manager doesn't have any more chance to infect and influence the game state in a meaningful way until half time, that the players on the pitch, at least some of them, can turn around and go, shit, guys, the game plan's out of the window, right? We're already 1-0 down. We fucking man up, fix up, do this, all that sort of shit. We don't have anything like that on the pitch.
Yes, I don't see that from Romero, like Romero, for example.
At all.
Last night, Van der Ven's losing his mind at the ref after the penalty decision, which wasn't a penalty in a million years, right? I think we all knew it wasn't, right? But at what point was Romero, as captain, to go over to Van der Ven, who's been booked, and say, whoa, dude, come away. He just runs away and does his own thing. Look, Sean, in an ideal world, right? In an ideal world, Spurs are sitting with the 11 that they had under Poch, right? And we're talking about, right, what top players can we add to this squad to give it stardust? Problem is, Sean, we've come so far away from that I'm in a position now as a fan where I go, right, can we just get back to basics? Can we just get back to having a good, solid squad and then build on it? And at the moment, there's too much. You look how much we row about footballers, right? When Poch had that team, no one rowed about how good is Dele Alli, how good is Eriksen, Dembele, because they were just good footballers. Now we all row, how good's this player, that player, that player. I want him. It shows you it's been put together poorly, right? And I'll be honest, I'm at the stage now where I wanted Thomas Frank to be here, to have 2 or 3 years and to have a plan and a process and get in his players. I realise that isn't going to happen. And that's why now I think he should go, because he's not going to get what he needs that he would get from another club. Maybe that was my naivety, Sean.
Yeah.
But what I do know it does is whoever this next manager is, right, the pressure on them.
I completely agree. Nothing's going to fundamentally change.
But the pressure on them from day one, Sean, is going to be right, because now everyone's saying Frank shit, and we were all saying Andrew shit. I didn't
think he was responsible for last night, though.
No, I'm not saying last night in general, but I mean, as fans, we all go, this manager shit, that manager shit. It doesn't matter who we all said it about.
Yeah.
The next manager coming in, everyone almost by default is saying, well, it's not the managers. It's not the players. It's the managers. So the pressure that goes on to the next guy that's going to have this same group that have been terrible for years now, this next manager is going to come in and go, bloody hell, like where do I start? You've got those that want Xavi, who's going to come in and go.
By the way, ridiculous. Like,
God,
I heard that on so many.
With these boys.
Before I jumped on your stream last night, I did my quick video record, and then I just looked at a few other streams that were going on. I looked at We Are Tottenham TV. I think someone said, who should we go for? And then there was just like, hundreds of messages, and most of them were saying Xavi. Some of them were saying Poch, but most of them were saying Xavi. I saw some people on Chris Cowlin's show, on the actual panel show, saying just bring in Xavi Hernandez. I'm like, if you think that Thomas Frank is struggling with this squad, whether you like the way that he's setting up, I tend to think that Thomas Frank is a defensively focused manager. I think that's his sort of bread and butter, and he wants to fix the foundations. And whenever he tries to let the kind of the brakes off a little bit, we end up being sloppy at the back, which is obviously a fundamental foundational issue. But if you think that Thomas Frank is capable of getting more from the team, I think he's capable of getting more from the team. I think he's just a little bit scared of doing it. But Xavi Hernandez, he's a tick-attacker guy. Like, we're not a tick-attacker team. Like, not at all. It would be the worst signing. Xavi Hernandez would be the disaster of all disasters. He would, unless he has like other skill sets in his managerial sleeve that, that he could move to a different system, but we haven't seen it in his past, right? Wherever he goes, he does the same sort of thing. He would fail
at the age
miserably
of 6, he's grown up at Barcelona, right? I think 6 or 5. He's grown up at Barcelona, played most of his, played for Spain. That's his way, right? Can you, I tell you what I'd love to do, Sean. I'd love it, me and you, to get a couple of free passes to Xavi Hernandez first day on the training pitch when he sets out a passing drill, right? And I want to watch Xavi and his backroom staff's face when they're trying to watch Berghvall, Gray, Sarr, Bentancur, and Paulinho trying to play the keep ball possession football that he plays. And this is what I've said. I love Xavi Hernandez, Sean. I've got no problem with Xavi Hernandez replacing Thomas Frank. However, he will fail miserably. He will fail miserably with this team. So right now, no one can. This season, right? We've heard Iriola. When Bournemouth were flying, it was Iriola. See, he's your guy. Then when Palace were flying, it was Glasner's your guy. They've dropped off a cliff. Now it's tell you what, that Reggie Labrie at Sun. Who is the guy that's going to come into Tottenham right now? And we truly believe gets us all going, he's calmed it down. He's settled it. We play decent football. We're winning games and we're back in the top 5 or 6. Well, I think
the only name that really springs to mind.
Dynamo.
The magician.
I genuinely don't think we understand. I don't think we get how bad everything is, honestly. Dynamo.
Listen, let me quickly do. There's a bunch of super chats. Yeah, we've still got to talk. We've only got half an hour to go, guys. By the way, and then we're going to pivot across to. I'm going to pivot across to Football Week with Johnny at 1:00. But big up to everyone, and then obviously Spurs 5 tonight. But I'll put Sava's link in as well. Sava's going live. I think 6 o'clock tonight. You said you're going live.
5, and then I'll try
5 o'clock tonight. Yeah. The Spurs fan 76 has become a new member. Big up to you, my man. First chance to come on the Spurs the fan shows tomorrow afternoon. I'll be doing something there, so big up to you. If you can come on, please come and say hello. Thank you very much for your support. Warren Driscoll has put in a super chat saying, "Don't know what he means, but it sounds gladiator." I think we saw that one. That's about Romero's second comment invoking some Argentinian leader. Political thing. That's mad, by the way. If he actually said that on top of what he said last night, that is fucking wild. He's invoking protests. Jesus Christ. Begging for a transfer request. All things trucking. Big up to you, my man. Become a new member as well. Big up to you, buddy. Hopefully I'll meet you tomorrow night. Thank you very much for the super chat as well, buddy. Appreciate you. George, Super Cup Legends, has said, he's a member for 10 months. Big up to you, Georgie. He says, big up, Sean. You speak a lot of home truths, buddy. Appreciate you, mate. Listen, it's just my opinion, but we've all got opinions. Everyone's got them. Thank you very much, my man. I don't know what it was I said then that you agreed with. Been speaking for a long time this morning. Big up to you, buddy. Thanks for your support. Josh Caress, big up to you, says Romero is the perfect example of the paradox that exists in our squad. Players individually are better than we're seeing, but poor collectively. Yeah, look, you know what's funny about Romero, Sava? I don't know if you spend any time on Instagram, but I flick through it because I'm trying to find clips for my conspiracy show, and I see a load of like football clips from football podcasts that I don't know where they are. I don't follow them on YouTube. There's very few non-Tottenham fans that rate Romero.
Look.
Do you see that a lot? Do you see that when you go on, or when you used to go on panel shows? And that? Only Tottenham fans seem to think he's world class or close to it.
Look, I've had the same opinion of Romero since we signed him. Nothing has changed for me. This is a guy that is capable of world-class performances, but is also putting in stinkers left, right, and centre. And like Lubo and I always have this row about him. He's like, but I'm like, but if we are constantly talking about Romero, there must be a reason, right? Like Ledley King played in some really shit Spurs teams. Ledley King was class because you know what? He was class, right? Romero for me, too many stinkers. Head goes way too much. This guy's head goes. He wants to fight people rather than manage and lead on the pitch. This has always been the same. It's not that he's not a good player, Sean. But if you speak to Arsenal fans, Liverpool fans, Chelsea, City, none of these people go, cool, I'd love him. They say, I'd like Guehi, right? Like Guehi, because you know why? Guehi's consistent. He's consistent. It might not be that Guehi's the greatest defender in the world, but Mark Guehi's a very consistent defender that you go, I know what I'm getting. I used this guy's name earlier, Ezra Konsa. No one in their right mind talking about the best centre-backs in the league is going to talk about this guy. But at Aston Villa, do you ever watch Villa and go, God, that Konsa's shit? You don't, do you? You just go...
It's the same with players like Anderson, now at Fulham, ex-Palace, right?
Right.
You wouldn't put him in the top 10 in the Premier League, but he doesn't let you down. And I think so that's when you're talking about defenders, I think more so, and goalkeepers even more than defenders, but the mentality aspect is an intangible. But it's so important because your mentality determines your consistency. If your head goes, or if you're sloppy, if you lose concentration at the back of the pitch, like a striker can miss 10 chances and score the 11th in a 1-0 win and he'll get the man of the match. A goalkeeper can make 10 great saves, then have the bozo gene suddenly enact itself and give away a sloppy one, lose the goal 1-0, and everyone's talking about him. I think the further back on the pitch you go, the more important your consistency of your mindset becomes. And I think that is, and I think Romero is lacking in consistent.
Sean, I've been on this page for 4.5 years. I know Danny's in the chat. Danny and I always talk about this. And it's not that he's not a good player, but when people talk, oh my God, you can't lose him, blah, blah. I've seen so many top defenders at Tottenham in my decades of supporting this club that this guy comes nowhere near any of the others for me. That like when I've seen Jonathan Woodgate, Ledley King, I've seen Richard Goff, Jan Vertonghen, Sol Campbell, Ledley King. This guy for me doesn't lace their boots. But you know what? It's because, again, we are so bad in the transfer market that we don't buy players to battle them. What we've done really well here is we've bought Dragusin and Danso, who are the next level down, right? So that we know it doesn't matter what happens. Danso comes in, has 2 very good games. We don't concede goals. He knows he's back on the bench the moment Romero's fit.
Right. There's no threat. There's no threat to his place. And what does that lead to? It leads to an ego. It leads to an expectation. It leads to a belief that you're better than you are because there's no threat. There's no competition. I actually think if we did have, say, I don't know, a Guehi, let's say we had a back four, a 4 centre-back pairing of Guehi, Van der Ven, Romero, and I don't know, try to think, that's just outside the box, just for argument's sake, say a Saliba, right? just for argument's sake, I think Romero would he'd level himself up because he'd be like, my position's on the threat here. He'd become a more consistent, better player because he has that threat, but because he doesn't have any competition.
Or he gets seen for what he is, mate. Again, or he might get seen for, like, when our fans have desperately for years done this whole Saliba versus Romero thing. Look, I know he plays for Arsenal, but when I watch Saliba, it just feels like he's consistent, right? And sometimes consistency can outweigh ability. Right? You can have, Ndombele has got to be the greatest example of this. What a wonderfully gifted footballer, but couldn't string 2 games together where he looked professional and consistent. And
he's like another version of Mawani. We spoke about this last night, didn't we?
Mate, absolutely. And this is the problem. When you don't have a plan at a football club, you buy a lot of players where there's no consistency. Who decided Mawani was the right fit? Not just ability-wise, but personality-wise, Sean.
And you wouldn't know, would you? But it's an opportunity. We deal an opportunity. And that, to me, again, comes from the mindset of the board. And that whether that's Daniel Levy that was still around that made that decision, whether that's Vinay that's just, we're lockstep, Vinay and Daniel, that was the first video, right? Even though Vinay's taken over football things, there's never going to be a big decision where we're not hand in glove, all that stuff. Daniel Levy is a negotiator, he's a wheeler dealer. He's the sort of guy who would seek opportunities, just like maybe Manchester City buying Semenyo. Do they really need him? Probably not. But is it just an opportunity that's too good to turn down because he's a quality player and it stops someone else getting him for 60 million quid? I'm not comparing Spurs to City, but I'm just saying sometimes you're buying players that you don't necessarily need or want or that fits the model because it's opportunistic rather than part of a bigger plan. And Spurs don't do big plans. We do big plans in the property sector.
See, I'll ask you this question. I think the Spurs fan base in general, from when I see the comments, I think we are almost scared. And I get it, right? I get it because we've been burnt so many times and we've seen no real leadership at the top of the club, right? I think what we need is someone ruthless. I think we need a ruthless director of football or whatever title you want to give that person that comes in and rips this in from the inside out, right? That, as I said, if he turns around and goes, right, they're going. Right, Romero, you're gone. Right, Solanke, I'm just picking names. You're gone. You're gone. You're gone. Your manager gone. Director of football gone. Scouts gone. Right? But we're very sentimental, Sean. And you watch when the Brennan Johnson thing was the greatest example. Brennan Johnson isn't good enough for Tottenham Hotspur, right? He's not as a footballer. I'll just be kind and say 50% of this fan base lost its mind. Oh my God, Brennan Johnson, bigger club.
Oh yeah, the Twitter, like it was like they were doing like bloody what do you call it? Like when people die, like the obituary or whatever it's called. They were doing like it was unbelievable. I was like, what? It's the same guy that trots around on the football pitch like a horsey in the Olympics.
I get it though, Sean, because what we're worried about, and somebody's made a great point in the chat just now. And this is where I get why fans are pissed off, is because I can sit here and say about Romero, but the first thought that comes into somebody's mind, which is the correct thought, Sean, is, but do we trust Spurs to replace him? Right? Now, this is the thing. These are 2 separate conversations, for example. Brennan Johnson, should he be at Tottenham? Is he good enough? Absolutely not if you want to go. But the second part of our brains goes to, well, who's in charge of bringing in better? Whose job is this to go, cool, we can move him on, but are we buying better? I think when we start seeing that, and this is why at Brighton, when do the Brighton fans question their owners? They don't question.
They don't, because they've got wins in the locker. They've got the points on the board.
Right.
There's no asterisks in life. There's only scoreboards, right? And Brighton, relative to their expectations, outperform. This again goes back to, I think, look, I know people say the fans are the problem, but I don't think the fans are the problem at Tottenham. I don't think the fans should have the influence that they do on a well-run, well-oiled machine. I think that the club should be above. They should listen, get the feedback, but communicate better and say, I know why you're thinking this, but you got to, this is what we're doing here, and it's part of a plan, so you have to let this bake out. But there's no communication. Whoever it was, I think it was on Spurs last night. I forget the guy's name, Crackers, was sort of
Richard
losing
Cracknell.
his mind. He was Richard Cracknell, right? He was having
like
a
him.
good old meltdown, and I really enjoyed listening to him. And he was saying, you know, he was swearing and stuff, which is unusual on Last Word on Spurs. Commonplace here, but very unusual over. But he was like, "There's no communication. It's a fucking this." And I was like, "Bang on, right? Like it's." Where is the communication? You only communicate, and Romero said it, right? The communication is only there from the board when times are good. Levy came out when Ange Postecoglou won his first 8 of his first 10 games. He said, "We got our Tottenham back." Next time you hear from Daniel Levy, other than in like pre-match program bollocks, was when we won the Europa League. With the first time we heard from Vinay was during that transitional period in the summer. Haven't heard anything at all since around what is it that's the plan. The absence of knowledge of a plan leaves people to speculate. And like you said correctly, the chat and everyone at Tottenham in the fan base has no confidence that there is a succession plan for Brennan Johnson. And you know what? It's now the 8th of January. You sold him on the 1st of January. We've played 3 games now without a right winger on the bench. We're playing left wingers in right winger positions that aren't even left wingers. And we're playing a loanee who doesn't seem to care because he's too casual. It is...
Look, I get it, right? I'll always give a little bit of allowance, Sean, the fact that you might not be able to go the exact day after or within 2 days. But again, this comes down to planning. They would have known, right? If you remember about a month ago, right? About a month ago, do you remember Chris Armstrong, the old Spurs striker? Do you remember him?
Chris Armstrong? Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Right. So Chris Armstrong, if you remember about a month ago, actually tweeted, didn't he, and said Johnson to play. It might have been 3 weeks or whatever.
No, it wasn't even that. It was December. It was about the 26th of December because I put up a video that night.
Okay, right. Cool. Yeah. Of course you bloody did, mate. Right. So if Chris Armstrong, he turned around and said,
"It's a done deal. It's a done deal." Yeah.
Even if it wasn't a done deal, the club would have known this was in the offing, right? So that should be when all hands go to the pump and you go, right, he's gone. Where are the players we've got lined up coming in behind that? And again, I looked at Lazio, right? Lazio 4 days ago sold Tati Castellanos to West Ham. Today, they've signed the boy from Ajax. I can't remember his name. And you think, right, that's it. One went out, one's come in. It's almost like they had a plan and moved swiftly. Spurs seem so bad at this. It's unreal. And this isn't about we should have kept Brennan Johnson. I've got no problem with Brennan Johnson going. Kenneth Taylor, thank you for the person in the chat. Kenneth Taylor. But this is where we need to be better. If you, like, as I said, if you know that Son was going in the window, right, there should have been replacements lined up. And it shouldn't just be, this is the only guy I want. I won't settle for anything other than this one man, because that man could get injured. That man might sign a new contract. And this goes back to, Sean, if we do not start implementing a plan at the top of this football club, we can all sit here and we're going to be doing this point scoring bullshit for years and years and years. But you know what, Sean, since I've known you, since I've been on YouTube, I sit and look at Spurs now to when I first started on YouTube. Nothing has changed.
When did you first start on YouTube?
Issues.
When did you first start?
2020 in some guys on or other.
COVID, yeah.
Right? So in those 6 years, if we just use those 6 years, nothing has actually changed in terms of a plan, in terms of the squad getting better, instead of a process, in terms of succession planning. Nothing's changed. But I'll sit here now and people go, you said, and Sean said this, Stel said this, Sava said this, Lubo said this, that we are who cares?
Yeah, you know what? I feel like I've been guilty of doing a little bit of you said this recently. I did it to Lubo quite a lot. I think I did it to you a little while ago as well on your stream. I don't think there's any point in it. I think it's just about, I think it gets down to like content creators, you know, wanting to be right. And I've always been someone that, obviously I'm an ego. Everyone's got an ego, but I don't feel like it's beneficial. I feel like it's fun, but sometimes it gets taken too far. And I'm going to stop. I'm going to try my best to stop doing it, because I also feel like if that's what we engage in, if that's the currency that we deal with, then I've learned my lesson. And I said this to you on last night's show. you end up stop having strong opinions that you want to die on the hill for, because you know that things are going to change so quickly in football that one minute you might think you're right, the next minute you're very wrong, and then you're just going to get the pile on, which is never nice. And then you don't, so you didn't like it when you got it. So the first opportunity you get to dish it out, you give it back. And so like, I don't want to be that guy. So instead, I've been sort of saying, you know what? I'm just not going to have a strong opinion on Frank. I'm not going to have a strong opinion on players because, you know, it's easier just to, but then you're not being authentic, right? Like, so like,
can I ask you a question, Sean? Yeah. Surely shouldn't the one narrative that we all agree on, and this isn't YouTubers, all Spurs fans right now, the one narrative should be we all agree that the club is a mess and we all want to see a pathway towards changing that. You know, we can, I still see YouTubers now talking about Conte. Like, what does it matter? The guy went years, like, none of that really matters. What matters is
the past, right? Yeah.
We are where we are right now. Sure, I wanted Frank to work. It looks like he's not going to work. Cool. Oh no, Sava wanted a manager and it's not worked. Let's beat him for a year. I don't care. What are we doing now? What's the plan? And I don't know.
Someone just sent me something. Sorry, go on. Sorry, finish.
I was going to say, I don't know who at the club is making that decision. And I'll ask this question. Most of the fan base right now want Frank out. Cool. Who are we trusting to make the decision on the next manager hire? Do you all trust the problem, that person?
So I've just been sent something from someone, and I won't say where it's come from, but basically the person who sent it has said that they've been given some insight from someone very credible, whatever that means. Nothing earth-shattering, but essentially the board haven't got a clue what to do. They don't want Frank, but they don't know what the option is. So are presently sticking with him until the end of the season in the hope of getting Ralf Rangnick and or Nagelsmann, which is what I spoke about with you a minute ago and yesterday and all those things, both of whom have already said no. And Nagelsmann is holding out for United. This was ordered to me. So anyway, listen.
See, I'd love those two. If you said to me right now, Spurs are implementing Rangnick as the sporting director and he's got the keys to the castle, Nagelsmann is the manager, I turn around and go, right, now give these two 3 or 4 years. Let's go through the pain. Let's let them weed out the shit. And I turn around as a fan and go, right, that's fine. But the problem is right now, will all the fan base go through that pain? And do we trust Spurs to implement a structure like that? And that is why
the only way the fans come back down from the expectation pedestal that we put ourselves on is, for me, is the club first of all needs to come out and articulate what the fuck's going on. First of all, they need to figure it out. Then they need to tell us. Second of all, I genuinely think that they need to bring Pochettino back, not because I think it will work, but because I think they need to scratch the itch and realize that, you know, she wasn't that good in bed. Like, stop judging all the next managers on how good they are at noshing you off. She wasn't that great, right? It was a perfect storm. You were high on drugs at the time, and it felt better than it normally. Whatever. Sorry for being a little bit crass there, but you know what I mean, right? You know what I mean. You need to go back and get that out of our system. And at the same time, I also think that the club need to drastically reduce the prices of the tickets, the environment, the engagement of football, because you're not getting value for money at the moment. So I've only got 7 minutes left, and I've got loads of super chats, mate.
Go for it.
Let me just run these through. Lee Townsend says, what decent player would join Spurs this January after our captain's comments? Again, it doesn't help what Romero said. He might have been right what he said, but it doesn't help. And again, I completely agree. I think that this window, that's why I said I think the window is going to be a shit show, both managerially and player-wise. I don't think many people want to come here right now. Big up to you. All Things Trucking has said, rabbit hole Sean, all a bit weird. Frank's alignment speech, the dirty scum cup photo. We haven't even spoken about that. The loss of the match, and then the Romero post. Timing is key. Yeah, like, it's a perfect shit sandwich at the moment. I am going to let Saba give his take on the Arsenal Cup thing, because part of me thinks he wouldn't have done it deliberately, but the other half of me thinks no one holds a cup like that the entire time they're holding it. At some point, you're going to see it at some point, right? So like, I don't know. Very
I've
fucking
got one
weird.
sentence on this. Of the 1,000 things that are wrong at Tottenham, this ranks so low down there that I don't give a shit. I get that it's something fun for everyone to pick holes at. Again, this is a minuscule thing. I care more about what is going on at the top of this football club for me. I don't 100%. Care about a cup. Sorry, 100%. I don't care about a cup. Right?
No, I hear you. Big up to you. This is also from Jews Not saying, so how did Frank get an Arsenal cup at a Bournemouth game? Smell a conspiracy. Well, I think that's just because Arsenal were played there in the away game, in the away dressing room the week before. They obviously just left some cups there and he just picked one up. That's at least what his answer was. It doesn't help the situation. Like I said earlier, I reckon when he got told that, he went, "Oh, fucking hell."
God, someone's put in the chat, I've got 99 problems, but the cup ain't one. That's the best.
That is excellent. Excellent. Josh Caress, big up to you, mate. He says, Sean Sava, in your opinion, are we a club currently going through a bad patch, or was the Redknapp Poch era a good patch? And this is actually our mean, but we've regressed to the mean. Oh. I think we've fallen further than the mean. I think we were probably we're about the 8th best team. I think realistically, I think we're about the 8th, 7th, somewhere around there. We should be around there, but I think we've fallen far off the perch, but because of all of the energy at the football club is just poison at the moment. Sava, would you agree?
Yeah. I mean, those two, especially those two, were outliers, right? Like they both had really good spells. I think you're right. I think our mean is probably a bit higher than where we have been the last few years. However, don't forget, this is the first time for a very long time that we've not had any superstars that can cover cracks.
Mate, my mum came around this morning to take the dog out. And she went, "What happened to your team last night?" She doesn't really follow Tottenham, right? And I went, "Oh, it's the same old shit." I said, "It's a sad thing. We actually played quite well. I thought we played all right, and just it could have gone either way." And she went, "Yeah, you know what though, Sean? You just don't, everything's gone shit since you lost Sonny and Kane." And I was like, "How do you know that?"
Mate,
she's like, she doesn't watch my channel either. She doesn't give a shit about my stuff. So but she knows. She knows. The women's intuition always knows,
Mate, honestly, I genuinely think a lot of people were talking as those two got a bit older. How many were asking the question, what are Spurs going to do when Kane and Son go? Yeah. I think the harsh reality that none of us wanted to face, even me, I was in denial about how much impact it would have. When I watch Tottenham now and I go, who is the player where I go, we've got him, we've got Bale, we've got Modric, we've got Kane. Honestly, I think those two both going within the space of 2 years has left us at our level. Sorry, I do.
Yeah, I hear you, mate. I hear you.
No star.
Hotspurs 63 member for 28 months. Thank you so much for your ongoing support, mate. He says Sava talks sense, but didn't factor in that all those players would be injured here. How can you factor in the amount of injuries we get? And by the way, we've got another massive crisis with injuries with Berghvall and Bentancur is now going as well. You got anything to say on that one quickly, mate, before I move on?
No, look, every manager gets injuries and you have to deal with it. Last season, Ange's was very much defensive. This year, it's very much offensive. It is what it is. But, hey, if you build a better squad, you don't feel the pain of injuries as much.
Yeah, I hear you, mate. I hear you. Henry Wrong, big up to you. He says, big up Sean and Sava. Would you put Biss into this midfield despite his problems? Yeah, 100%.
100%.
He's on the AFCON
tour. Balloons before and after the game. I don't care. Get him in the team. Don't care.
Yeah.
Don't care.
100% so. Yeah, stick him in. But he's on the AFCON anyway. So big up to you, mate. Thank you very much. Deathly Main says, look where Langer had Villa. Look where he has us. Villa were on the up. I'm not sure what you're saying there, but I think Villa were on the up when he was there. So, but I'm not sure he was that important. I think he got demoted, didn't he, when Monchi came in? Big up to you, mate. Alex Crosley's become a new member. Big up to you, Alex. If you want to come on tomorrow afternoon, the fan show will be there for you, mate. Appreciate you for the loyalty and the support. Big Country Chris says, Thomas Plank makes me ill. And, look, I think a lot of people are, there's so many wildly differing opinions right now on who it is that's the foundation point. I agree with Sava. Like, you can change one thing, but unfortunately, the ship is rotten. You can change the captain, but there's holes in the ship. Doesn't matter. The best captain on the boat, the best captain on the water. But if there's holes in the ship, then he's still going to struggle to sail it. And JP has said he's a member for 29 months. He said 28. Is that all you got? That was the last guy. You had 28 months of loyalty. Thank you very much indeed, my man. I appreciate you very much indeed. Guys, I haven't asked at all, but please do smash the like button and hit the subscribe. Here is also Sava's link to his channel. Let me just stick it in. Football Heritage TV. Please subscribe to Sava. It's been a massive show. 1,650 people been here for the last basically 2 hours. Unbelievable stuff. Sava, thank you so much, mate. What's coming up? Are you just talking about the same sort of shit tonight on your show as well, or is it a fan show? What are you doing?
Well, I'm going to be talking about our 2 new signings that are going to no doubtedly coming in between now and 5 p.m. And yeah, just a general Spurs chat with Chris B, and then I'll transfer over to you guys at 8 p.m.
Fantastic stuff. There's Sava's link. Please do support him. Please do support everyone in the Spurs community. Guys, we're going to say a big up to you, Daniel Field, as well. Super sticker, choo to you, mate. Thank you very much. We are on Spurs 5 at 8 p.m. Right now, I'm going to head over. We're going to direct you all over right away over to Football Inc., where Johnny's going to have his say on a lot of this stuff as well. And we've got other things to talk about, transfer news, views, and clues, because there are actually some transfer news, views, and clues for Tottenham today, but we didn't get to cover any of them. Saba, unbelievable effort from you, mate. Thank you very much for coming on. Really appreciate you, buddy. And we will see you later on. Expect Stell's going to go mental tonight. I think Stell's going to be.
No, I think he'll be calm. He came on my show last night. I think that Stell's almost like where I am with it, where it's just kind of like, oh, we're going again. Like we go again. The club's a mess. I might be wrong. He might go mad, but I think he'll be calm. I think we're all browbeaten.
We are. Yeah, we're all exhausted, aren't we?
It's just a shit. Listen, Bromley, my local team, are top of League 2. So I'm
nice, man.
Ticket.
Nice. Go get yourself a season ticket down there. Good luck to them. All right, guys, we'll leave it there. Stay where you are. We'll go send you straight over to Football Inc. Please come over and smash the like and subscribe over there and hang out with me and Johnny for a little while. Sav, thank you so much. Appreciate all the super chats. Very generous from you all today. Subscribe button should be kicked, dropped, whatever rubbed, and we'll see you later on tonight as well. See you in Football Inc. in 30 seconds. Cheers, guys. Cheers, Sava. Bye.